chant. Namah Sahamanaya. Third Anuvakam, God is described in various forms of how He steals, or what is stealing, what steals us, and then how He is the Lord of those stealers. It's a very interesting concept to cognize. Namas Sahamanaya. Sahamanaya means the one with infinite forbearance. Sahamanaya, infinite forbearance, Kshama. The infinite forbearance of Bhagavan can only be understood by me, in my opinion, in a very simple way. Many of us, including children, when the parents are not computer savvy, they try to teach the parents how fast they can learn. No, go click there, go click here, move the mouse here, do this, do that, right? Hello, how many of us do that? Because we know something better than the others. What happens? We actually absolutely want to demonstrate that immediately. We say, okay, move the mouse here. No, not there. Go here, go there, right? Right? Because we know a little bit more than others. Can you imagine the patience and forbearance of God, who knows everything about you, about us, your past, present, and future, but yet does not direct you? Can you imagine how much forbearance that is? Can we even comprehend that? It is incomprehensible forbearance. Right? If you know a little bit of something, we are so exuberant, but yet how simple He is and how beautiful He is. He even asks you, when did you come? Where did you come from? Doesn't He know that? He knows everything. He is just giving you an opportunity to interact with Him. Now even that interaction He is withdrawn, hardly even speaks. Now the heart yearns. How come Swami is not even talking? He doesn't even open his mouth nowadays. No discourses. Hello, Sairam. How many months or years it has been, Bhagavan has given a full discourse. During the old times, devotees, he would interact and they will get, Swami, it's already 11 o'clock in the night. Can you go, please go and sleep, Swami. We want to sleep. Tomorrow morning we have to get up for Nagar Sankirtan. He will say, a time will come when you will say, Swami, please come and talk to me, Swami. Please say a single word to me, Swami. This forbearance, what I am talking about is, we have such courage to tell Him what our plans are also. We try to tell Him, Swami, my plan is. Then He is looking at you and saying, you are telling me your plan? But yet He patiently listens. Yeah. Em samacharam. What's the news? This is Sahamanaya. How much forbearance, Kshama. Kshama is even more supreme word than forbearance. Like dharma, it cannot be translated into English. Right action, right conduct. That is not dharma. Dharma doesn't mean that. Dharma is even dharayati iti dharmaha. Means what? The one you wear, a vesture, is dharma. Right conduct is very simply a vesture. Right action is a vesture. Vesture means, hello, vesture means, what is it that you are doing, Sairama, please? Those papers are not for making rockets and all that. Okay, please. Can you please put that away? He is imitating you, Saira. So, the context of forbearance, kshama, means it's even more than forbearance. It is even trying to remain silent in spite of noticing everything that is good and bad, but yet being a sakshi bhuta. Sakshi bhuta is a even more better word than forbearance. Sakshi bhuta means just simply being a witness. Being a witness. And what does this mean, being a witness? Being a witness means when you are watching a movie, so this is described by Swami only. Everything that I am talking is described by Swami only in several of his discourses and Vahinis and everything. And in fact, I was telling one of the devotees that after reading Vahinis, I stopped reading any books because there is nothing more to read. Everything is described in there. And if we can just comprehend that, that's the supreme knowledge already given as a Vahini by Bhagavan. No need to read any book. Everybody else, whatever they describe in this, is small vignette, a small hairline spiritual wisdom in the infinite flow of Bhagavan's Vahinis. Take it from me for granted. With experience, I am telling you. It doesn't mean that you should not read books. Huh? Please don't interpret it that way. What I am encouraging you to do is study the Vahinis. And in one of the Vahinis, Swami describes, I think it is Dharma Vahini. He says, Sakshi Bhuta means this. When you go and watch a movie, on the screen, there will be flood. And then you are getting emotional about the flood on the screen. Are you getting wet? Is the screen getting wet? There is fire on the screen. Does it mean the screen is burning? But we see this stuff on the screen. We get connected to that. And then we become emotional about it. But is it really happening? Is anything happening to the screen? They switch off the projector. What happened? Just screen. That is forbearance. That is Sakshi Bhuta. That is Sahamanaya. Now this Sahamanaya, this Anuvakam starts with Sahamanaya. Nivyadhina avyadhininam pataye. Nivyadhina means the one who troubles you. Avyadhininam pataye means the one who actually troubles the troubled. Sahamanaya, Sakshi Bhuta, Nivyadhina, Avyadhininam. Now when you look at this, the antarartha, the inner meaning of this is Nivyadhina, Avyadhininam. When you are in a dream state, something happens. All of a sudden you are running. It's time for the exam. You have the hall ticket. You are running and you are catching the bus. Oh my God. By the time you reach the examination hall, the exam is over. Ooh, you wake up and what happened? I failed. Oh, look around. No hall ticket, no bus, nothing. But what happened? You got troubled by an experience that is a projection. So, and the one that actually troubles the trouble is Avyadhininam Pataye Namaha. He is the Lord of the... So the one that is infinite for... Now what this is referring to is three states of presence, which is the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushiptinam, Sakshibhutyai Namo Namaha. This is a beautiful thing in with Sri Lalita Ashtottara Shatanamavali. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushuptinam, Sakshibhutyai Namo Namaha. The one who is the witness of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Jagrat is awakened state. Swapna is dream state. Sushupti is deep sleep state. There is no description of that in medical terminology. Honestly, they call it coma, but it is not even coma. What? Huh?
Said
Hibernation.
hibernation.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. That being a witness of these three is him, Pataye Namo Namaha. Means what? He is witnessing all these three things unaffected by any of the three states of existence. Huh? And this is not something that is philosophical, that is so difficult to comprehend. Living legends of Bhagavan Ramana exactly lived this state of existence. Paramacharya, Kanchi Paramacharya, Chandrasekhara Saraswati, walking God, as they call, Nadiche Daivam. And these are examples that are in the last century related to India, great souls that lived this Jagrat Swapna Sushiptinam Sakshibhutyai Namo Namaha. There will be a huge wound, vranam, cancer. What happened? They'll come and remove the whole band-aid. Blood will be flowing. They will all be perturbed, even the doctors. Bhagavan Ramana will be just looking like this, smiling. Huh? And then he will say, let them tie the wound, let them tie the body. They are doing it out of their love. I am not attached to this. This is exactly what Bhagavan is living today. This is exactly what we are seeing him live today. He is saying, Dehamu panchabhautikamu, Dehamu kolaka tappadeppudun, Dehi niramayundu, Ganutimpaka dehiki chavu puttukala moha nibandhanala mudralu levu. Dehamu panchabhautikamu, this body is made of 5 elements. And these 5 elements, their nature is to decay. Dehi, the one that is using these 5 elements, niramayundu. He is not attached to any of this stuff. He is not attached to any of the drama that is going on around him. All the stuff that we are doing, organization, bhajans, everything, all this stuff is our own little drama. Do you think he is attached to all this? No, no, no. He is Nirgunam, Niranjanam, Sanatanam, Niketanam, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Nirmala Swarupinam. He is constantly watching, smiling. You go do play in front of him, 45 minutes you will be dancing, doing whatever you are doing. He is just sitting, witnessing, smile on his face, happy. Huh? You understand? This is Sahamanaya. In the place there will be so many mistakes, there will be even missing lines out of Arati and all that. You think he doesn't care. He is papam ponile. But this is the example of living of forbearance and being a witness to everything that is happening around, and that is Namas Sahamanaya Nivyadhina Avyadhininam Pataye Namo Namaha. That is the meaning of this antarartha of this. But when you read in the text, it will be described. Emma, what was written in Veda Pushpanjali? You don't have, usually somebody. I have it. Yeah. Prostration. I will repeat it if you chant a little bit slowly, so that other people can also hear. Prostrations to the Chief of the valiant armies. Who is the prosecutor of enemies, but tolerant to devotees. Sahamanaya. Nivyadhina Avyadhininam Pataye Namo Namaha Kakubhaya Nishangine Stenanam Pataye Namo. Kakubhaya Nishangine. Read it, brother. What's the literal meaning given there? Prostrations to the chief of thieves. Within parenthesis, stealer of men's hearts. Seated on the haunch of a bull. Armed with a sword. Okay. Kakubhaya means the one who is sitting on the haunch of a bull. Nishangine means the one that is actually having a sword. Kakubhaya Nishangine. Stenanam Pataye. Stenanam means the one who steal, the lord of all the stealers. Now, how can we understand this? Stealer, Stenanam Patayed, is a heart a stealer? No. Heart is not the one that steals. What is it that steals you away from your own presence or awareness? Are the senses. The senses are the ones that are stealing your awareness from yourself. Hello, you understand this? Is it becoming a little more relevant now? Now, Kakubhaya Nishangine, the one who has the sword and sitting on the haunch of a bull, and one who is the lord of all the stealers. Now, in order to understand these mantras carefully, antarardhas of it, you need to connect to the Puranas. You have to study the scriptures. And when you study the scriptures, Bhagavatam and Ramayanam, those scriptures, then you will connect to what this means. Who is the one that is sitting on the haunch of a bull? Shiva. Nishangine. The sword here refers to discrimination. Discrimination. And the discrimination, Stenana means the one that steal your awareness. And I already said that. Who steals the awareness? Your senses. Your senses about all the perceptual knowledge takes you away from it. You smell something very beautiful, avakai, very nice smell coming out. Then what happens? Immediately your mind goes to avakai smell, gongura pappu, all that. Immediately it goes to that. Oh, beautiful smell. What happened? In a minute you lost your awareness about yourself because it has taken you away from your own self to an object that is outside. Hello? So, what is stealing your awareness? The sense. The Lord of the senses, as I already said, Lord of the rings and ignorings, now Lord of the senses. Senses. How is he the Lord of the senses? Now if you understand what it means is, when he was sitting in penance, who was sitting in penance? Shiva. Somebody wants to steal his awareness. Who was that? Mahadeva Shiva Shambho Shankara Maheshwara Shiva Shambho Shankara Mahadeva Shiva Shambho Shankara Maulishwara Shiva Shambho Shankara Madanantaka Shiva Shambho Shankara. When you say Madanantaka Shiva Shambho Shankara, this Manmadha, the one, the Lord of the senses, he is the one that is trying to steal you away from the Lord. And why did he do that? Because he went and told Mother Parvati, oh, don't worry about this, I can take care of this Shiva. And he is not responding to your prayers. I will go perturb him, so he will open your eyes and look at you. What happened? He went and he tried to perturb him. What happened? Opened the eyes, but not the regular eyes. The eye of, and the third eye of is the Jnana. Nishangine means Jnana, the sword of discrimination. Then what happened when he opened that Jnana Agni? When the Jnana, wisdom is opened, what happened? The guy of senses burnt into ashes. When you open your third eye, the Jnana Agni, Nishangine, then senses will get burnt. Stenanam Pataye Namo Namaha. Now you understand how beautiful the mantra is. Hello? How incredible, the powerful the mantra is. O Lord of all the stealers, the senses, please give me the one that is sitting on the bull. And the bull here stands for Dharma. The bull, the four-legged bull stands for Dharma. Dharma and Jnana are connected. The one person that is dharmic always have discrimination. Dharma is supposed, that's why it's called right action, right conduct. That is discrimination. So dharma is discrimination. When you are the lord of the dharma, you have discrimination. When you have discrimination, that is nishangine, then what happens? Stenanam pataye, all your senses are controlled. That is the meaning of this mantra. When you read from the book, it is very difficult to connect to this. It comes with constant chanting and contemplation on the mantra. The mantra reveals itself. Nishangine stenanam pataye namo namah. Now you see, the stealers are the senses. The lord of the senses is Manmadha. Now that is Puranic way of interpretation. Even in this Puranic way of interpretation, if you only think about, oh, Shiva opened his third eye, then the guy got burned down and everything disappeared. Oh, what is the connection to you? No connection. Yes, Kana.
I thought Manmadha was the god of love.
Yeah, Cupid. Yeah, the god of love. The love in a worldly senses, it is. Then it makes sense that the worldly love is sensual. Therefore, he is the lord of senses. Not the lord of love in the context of the big love. The love of that Swami refers to is love is my form. He means that that is a different. It's a higher, bigger. Even this is also love. But this love is temporary. It is ephemeral. It is very transient. But that love is Mahananda, Brahmananda. Now Swami says, if you are really hungry, you are craving and you are dying to eat something, somebody comes and gives you a small banana. Oh, you get Ananda. Oh man, I am very happy. Somebody gave me food. That Ananda is, now what happens? The guy says, okay, eat one more banana, eat one more banana, eat one more banana. You keep eating 10 bananas, you are full. Hey, no more bananas. I don't want any more banana. I hate bananas. Come on, daddy, don't give me bananas anymore. What happened? The same banana that gave you happiness turned into a banana that you hate. When you are extremely hungry, you loved the banana. Oh my God, I want that banana. I'm so hungry. Can you give me something? But when the same banana is overeaten, eaten and eaten and eaten, and you say, no more bananas. I am done. Now I will give it in Kashi so that I don't have to eat it anymore. You understand? So what happened? The same object that gave you happiness turned into an object of unhappiness. But this happiness of Brahmananda, there is no end to it. Once you connect to that Brahmananda, there is nothing called, oh, I'm not going to do it anymore. Once you get the Ananda of it, once you go and do Nama Sankirtana, that's it. There is nothing called, oh, one more Nama Sankirtana. I hate Nama Sankirtana. At least I don't think like, okay, one more Nama Sankirtana, let's go. You understand? That is a very different Ananda than no more bananas. Simple, no? See how children can understand what? That is also Ananda. But that Ananda is so temporary. In fact, that same Ananda or pleasure can turn into pain if you eat one full gela of bananas. Gela, I don't know what you call it. Gela ante antarani? Bunch, yeah, I don't know. Telugu is beautiful language. You cannot explain what gela in English means. The whole thing with the whole bunch of bananas, sit and eat. You love bananas. After that, you will hate banana. No more bananas. Right? So, stenanam pataye means the sensual pleasure can turn into pain. But the one you do with discrimination, and when you do it dharmically, even that is the connection to this mantra. Okay, let us chant. Namah Sahamanaya Pataye Vanchate Sayunam Pataye Namo Namo Nicherave Paricharaya Ranyanam Pataye Namo Namaha. Next one. Namo Nishangina Ishudhimate Taskaranam Pataye Namaha. Now, in what is happening in this next one is, the literal translation is, prostrations to the robber chief. Prostrations to the chief of robbers, armed with quiver and arrows. Prostrations to the deceiving, elusive chief of marauders. Marauders. That's a new word I learned today. Prostrations to the wandering, ever evasive chief of forest thieves. Now, those two mantras they're describing here together are Nishangina Ishudhimate Taskaranam Pataye Namo. Nishangina. Nishangina means the one who is equipped with the now Nishangina has two meanings. The first one is in the previous mantra is sword. In this particular mantra it is the dhanus, which is the bow. Ishudhimate. Ishudhimate. Ishu means arrows. Ishu means oh my God. You forgot first Anuvakama already. Ishu also means thoughts. Ishudhimate Taskaranam. Taskaranam means the stealers, robbers. Taskaranam Pataye Namaha. Now in this context, the Nishangina, the bow is the mind. Issue is the arrow, the thoughts. The mind and the thoughts together, they become the thieves. Hello, excuse me. Those are the thieves. So he is the Lord of the mind and Lord of the thoughts. And therefore, when the focus is on him, Taskaranam Pataye Namaha. What happens when you have trouble in your company with another colleague? You try with him, it doesn't work. Who do you go tell? To his boss. Huh? Then the boss will tell, okay, I'll take care of it. I'll talk to the guy. And he will have a conversation and his bonus and incentive. And that guy will stop bothering you. Right? Hello, excuse me. This is very simple. Huh? Very simple. When you have a problem, you go complain to the guy that is actually the chief of that particular division. It can go up and up and up. But sometimes you may be perceiving a problem. The guy will say, no, actually, he's doing his work. You are not doing your work. Therefore, please be troubled by him also. That also can happen. So you have to be very careful before you go to the chief. You figure out the mind and the thoughts, which are the stealers. Nishangina Ishudhimate Taskaranam Pataye Namo Namaha. Next one is Nichera Namo Namo Vanchate Parivanchate Stayunam Pataye Namaha. Vanchate means Vanchana means deceitful. Parivanchate means he is more deceitful of the he is the deceitful of the deceitfuls. Parivanchate Stayunam Pataye Namaha. Stayunam means basically the one that does not appear to be deceiving you, but deceives you without appearing to be deceiving. Oh my God, we are all connecting to these mantras very beautifully. Everything, deceit and thief, chiefs, stealers, everything. This is all sounding very familiar. Now, you see, in all of what we are talking about, it's all about human awareness and what takes you away from your own awareness. That is the meaning of the mantra that we are talking about. In the first mantra, we talked about how he is the Lord of all the different aspects of the colors which refer to the existence of the Mother Nature and all those things. Now we are talking about from outside, slowly it is going to inside. And that inside aspect of it is, all of this is related to our own inside. That's why it gives you a lot of insight. Once you get the insight of the inside, 99% of the job is done. What is now to be constantly connected to that insight. Once you are connected, once you know what it is, then you can do something about it. Very easy, right? Otherwise, the first time when you go to a place, you put the GPS, you are constantly looking at the screen. You're 100 feet, 200 feet, whatever, you are waiting, or it is telling you, turn right in 100 feet, and all that stuff. You are very happily listening. Once you reach the destination, coming back, hey, shut up, you will turn the guy off. No, lady off. I'm used to listening to lady. Okay, yeah. So, same thing here. Once you get the insight, you don't need something to prompt you. You already know, oh my God, this instinct is stealing me from something that I should be. This instinct is, this thought is not good. This thought is the good one. This thought is something I should not work on, or I should work on. This is the insight. Now, what happens? It's not that the thoughts won't come. The thoughts are constantly coming only. But you become the controller of whether you should do something about it or not. Now, lot of people think controlling means, oh, I have to control my thoughts. That means what? I cannot get any thought. No, it's impossible. If you have a lively body and if you eat avakai, there is no way you can control thoughts. Avakai is the one that causes lot of thoughts, I can tell you. No way. All that spicy food, the masala, chai and all that stuff, that will not. If you really don't have to have any thoughts, then you should eat the sattvic food that is fresh sprouts and fruits and no salt, no sugar, no oil. Then there will be really no thoughts. But guess what? But still thoughts. Okay, fine, yeah. So I told my wife, therefore, I said, don't try any of these experiments on me. You please keep eating sprouts and all that. I will be eating avakai only. But I have a better plan than that. When the thoughts come, I just watch them. I don't do anything about them. Thoughts will be coming only. Okay, which is more easy? Hello? Which is more easy? Relatively speaking. Relatively speaking. Controlling thoughts. Watching thoughts is more easy. Watching thoughts is more easy than controlling thoughts, because you cannot control thoughts. In order to control the thoughts, you have to go in the forest, you have to be completely isolated, no interaction with any human being. You have to be living in Mother Nature, watching the birds and the plants and all that stuff, eating kanda phala, moolas and all that kind of stuff. Then the body is trained not to get thoughts, because the body and the mind are so linked. So is the food, so are the thoughts, Swami says. Yeah. ఎట్టి వర్షమో అట్టి పంట, ఎట్టి పంటో అట్టి తిండి, ఎట్టి తిండో అట్టి తలపు, ఎట్టి తలపో అట్టి గుణము, ఎట్టి గుణము అట్టి శీలము, ఎట్టి శీలము అటువంటి సొసైటీ సంఘము. Now you see how he is beautifully describing. So is the rain, that is the food. So is the food, that is the thought. So is the thought, that is the behavior. So is the behavior, that is the society. So is the society, that is the community. So is the community, that is the world. Where is it starting from?
Wouldn't community come before society?
Rain. Now you see, if you connect to that, what it means. Why he is saying rain? The rain comes because of sacrifice. Yajna. In order to invoke rains, they used to do yajna. They will sit and they will pray. And once they prayed, those prayers will cause the rains. So what caused the rain to begin with? Prayers. The yajna. The sacrifice. Ashmacha me, mrutikacha me, girayascha me, parvatascha me, sikatascha me, vanaspatayascha me, hiranyancha me, yascha me, sisancha me, trapushcha me, syamancha me, lohancha me, agnischa me, apascha me, virudhascha me, voshadhayascha me, kristapachancha me, akristapachancha me, gramyascha me, pashava aranyena, yajnena kalpantam. What are they saying? Oh, yeah, very happy, yes. He got blissed out, yes. So, what is Ashmachame? Ashmachame means the earth. Girayaschame, mountains. Parvatas, Girayaschame, hills. Parvataschame, the mountains. Vanaspatayaschame, all the beautiful herbs. What every single aspect of trapushchame, trapuhu means copper, shyamoschame, iron, lohanchame, metals, all these things that are ashmachame, mruttikachame, clay, girayaschame, hills, parvataschame, mountains, vanaspatayaschame is all the beautiful herbs, hiranyanchame, silver and gold. Ayaschame, ayaha means is unrefined iron. Ayah pinda means unrefined core iron. All those metals, all these herbs, all this earth, all the fire, all the water, everything yajnena kalpantam. I am going to offer it as sacrifice. This is the Vedic living. Today, everybody is thinking these Vedas are for chanting. Brothers and sisters, it is nothing to do with chanting. It is nothing to do with all the stuff you are seeing as paraphernalia in temples and churches and synagogues and mosques. It is nothing to do with this. This is about living. Are you offering water as sacrifice? Are you offering earth as sacrifice? Sacrifice means what? Sacrifice means I will use it only to the limit of my particular existence. That is sacrifice. Can I sacrifice a little bit of water means can I take shower in 2 minutes and shut off the water when I am brushing my teeth? Am I using the water so cautiously? That sacrifice. Can I use it to the extent I can just need to use it? That is yajna. And when people live with this type of consciousness and awareness as a yajna, then the Mother Nature is happy. Why? The natural resources are conserved. Trapuhu, hiranya, all these metals, steel, all this stuff that they are talking about, yajnena kalpantam. I am going to use it with sacrificial attitude. When that sacrificial attitude comes, then what happened? Varsha comes. If you use the water carefully and there is enough water left, it will be enough to evaporate and create the clouds and bring more water. This is how beautiful this concept of Vedic living is. This is what is needed today. And hence Bhagavan is emphasizing, learn the Veda, learn the Rudra, so that you will at least have the awareness of living properly. And this is nothing to do with Hindu temples and gods and Sai Ram. I am in a temple. Bhagavan, Shama karo, he karo, wo karo. So, but what I am trying to say, really, when you see a God and the context of living a Vedic life is living with a life of servitude and gratitude and awareness of self-sacrifice. So, why did I come to that? Vanchate, parivanchate, stayunam pataye namaha. Vanchate means the one that is deceitful. Parivanchate means the one which is deceitful to the deceitful. If vanchate is your thought, parivanchate is the instinct. Because what is even fundamental to the thought is the instinct. How many times you heard me say this several times. Instincts impel. Impulses ideate. Ideas act. Actions habituate. Habits characterize. Where is it starting from? Instinct. And one of these days I also promised you that I will tell the meaning of Suprabhatam. The entire essence of Suprabhatam, if you really understand what we chant to Swami every day morning, starts with Ishwaramba Sutasrivan. Once you understand that Suprabhatam and you do the Suprabhatam, Suprabhatam is totally different. It is no longer awake, O Lord of Parthi, please wake up from sleep and all that stuff. Bhagavan is not sleeping. Hello. If he sleeps, we are all slept, gone, wept. Everything is swept. Okay? Understand? Bhagavan is not sleeping. Who is sleeping? Your awareness is sleeping. You are awakening your awareness. Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapravaran Nibodhata. This is the Vedic dictum, which Swami Vivekananda used to say very beautifully. Uttishtata, awake, Jagrata, arise. Prapravaran nibodhata. Then you have to live what is the awareness. And that is the context of doing Suprabhatam. So, instinct is the one which is even fundamental to the thought. That is parivanchate. How can you even control the instinct? Ayyo. It's very, very difficult because it's all programmed, you see. How do you actually control what is already programmed? This is the essence of the Matrix movie. Okay. When you watch the Matrix movie, that is what it is. You have a body and awareness, but yet you are programmed, and then what happens? It is different. Now you are beyond the binary code. That is the Matrix aspect of it. The Matrix has two things, Nama and Rupa. That is the Matrix. And that is the one, Sat, Chit, Ananda, Nama, Rupa. This is the essence of existence. Everything is written in one of these Vahinis only. Very beautifully, Bhagavan describes how the existence comes into picture. Now, when you go into this aspect of instinct, the instinct is the stealer of the stealers. Why? Because without the instinct, even the thought would not have come. Vanchate parivanchate stayunam pataye. Now, stayunam, I have to look, stayunam pataye. Emma? The one that is appearing to be deceitful, but you cannot even recognize it. Means you don't know what you don't know. Can you understand this? Means what? Something is with you, you cannot see it. It is deceiving you, but you get deceived all the time, very happily, and you don't even know that you are getting deceived. Then what happened? He is the pataye for that. Oh my God. So 3 levels of stealers, very beautifully described. First one is steals in front of you, bag stolen. Walking in the street, bag stolen. What happened? Oh, somebody stole my bag. You can connect to it, right? Then the next level is the stealer of the stealers. Bag is stolen, somebody steals, you have no idea. Somebody stole the bag from the stealer. Next level. It's like in that movie, Slumdog Millionaire. The guy that sends the children, for begging. Nobody sees the guy that is getting the money from the beggars, is he? He's not getting, because he's the one that is programming it. You are thinking, ayo, papam, poor guy, let me give the money. But you are not giving the money to the poor guy. Somebody is the gang leader. He is the one that is getting it. Now, this one is even incredible. You are getting deceived, but yet, you are happily enjoying the stealing because you don't know you are even getting deceived. And he is the Lord of all these 3 categories. Now, are you all happy? Enough stolen today? Anybody has any questions about this concept? It is very, very difficult to explain, but because, we are talking about something, what is this, all this stealing business described in Rudra? And then he is Lord of all these stealers. Yes, Kumar? No thought is either good or bad until you act on it. No? So that's the first level. Then the next one is you are getting the thoughts, but the thought has some impact on your own self. That is the next level. Like I was saying, some thought comes, and if you are connecting to the thought not by action but even by emotion, then that has an impact on you. That is the next level. The third level is recognizing thought as just as a thought and let it go. It's like watching like the tennis ball, falling in the court or not. Thought coming. Is it going out? Is it coming in? Should I take it, or the guy in front of me should take it? This is all now playing the thoughts and playing in the awareness.
Not having ownership over the thought.
Not over the thought, over the action. Because action is what you own.
Even the thought, if we don't own it, saying that it is an energy passing through me.
Yeah, yes.
I don't even own that thought.
Yes.
No karma is attached.
No, it
bad
is,
thoughts.
yeah, so it is, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I'm trying to simplify it. It is not, so if you recognize that some thought that is coming because it is already pre-programmed and you have to at that point of time do something about it. But if you have to act on the thought, acting on it without attachment to the result, make that action also is like frying the seed. If you take a seed and you plant it, you will get the, if you take a seed and then you sow it, you will get the plant, right? However, you take the same seed, you fry it, and now you sow it. What happened? No plant comes. Instincts are like that. So I'll tell you one example how beautifully Swami explained this. Maybe I shared this with you before. One of the students asked Swami, we hear in scriptures that once you come across a great Mahatma like you, we don't have Punarjanma, no second life. How can you give me guarantee, now that I have seen you, talk to you, that I don't have Punarjanma again? Very beautiful question, no? Swami says, takes like this, whoever sees this lingam, they are all sanctified. They have no next janma. How many of them are sanctified? Now people say, oh my God, I have seen it. Now, no more life. Oh, liberated. Very happy. Now, listen to this very carefully, what Swami gave as the answer. He said, Bangaru, if you take a coal is the black coal, no? Wood, black wood that is burnt, right? If you take the coal and you take it, wash it with milk, does it turn into white? No. So it doesn't turn into white. In order for it, I probably shared this with you. So in order for it to turn into white, you have to put it in fire. And once you put it in the fire, then it not only turns into the ashes and it has no use for it anymore. Then he said, if you have come to me and by seeing me, by interacting with me, the fire of wisdom is lit in you, then you become vibhuti. You become the ash. This is the mantra that says, Tamushtu hiyashvishusudhan vayo yasvasya kshayati bheshajasya yakshva mahesau manasaya rudrannamo obhir devamasuram duvasya ayam me hasto bhagavan ayam me bhagavattarah ayam me vishwabhe eshajo yagum shivabhimarshanah. Swami gave the meaning of this mantra in a dream to me. I was asking him, how do I understand this? He said, come, touch my feet. I touched the feet. And he said, raise the hands, raise the hand. And he said, because these hands have touched my feet, they have become sanctified. They have become holy now. These hands can only do good work from now on. This mind can only think of good thoughts from now on. It is completely transformed. Therefore now you are eligible to go now do the service of the Lord outside of the universe. That is the meaning of that mantra. Hello? You understand? Every one of these mantras have that profound inner meaning and context. Now you are asking the question about how do we recognize which thought is good or bad, or you have no control over it. No? Thoughts are coming and going, you have no control over it. You just have to watch, and that is where nishangina, discrimination, comes into picture. Which thought is the discrimination? Yes, uncle. Yes, uncle. Yes.
You can say as stage 3. The stage it spouts out and it is taken over by mind for creating an action, stage 2. Then when it is coming in the form of an action, the thoughts, it gives you or activities, stage 3.
Yes.
And we interpret this as a stealer of this action as a stage 3.
Beautiful,
Then
yes.
the second stage is the stage where it is deceptive, and the first stage, the seed stage, which we yourself do not know.
Yes. That's exactly, so uncle explained it very beautifully, is that many of us just act. We don't even know that we are acting. And this is a fundamental, even before the action. We do the action and we then regret. We say, I should not have done that. I made a mistake, right? That is the most common 99% of awareness is that after the action you recognize. So what happened in that context? Somebody did the action within you, and that is the mind without discrimination. Then the next one is followed by the senses, because it's emotional, it's connection. Right there, the senses are the ones that are doing the action without you even being aware of it. Hello, you understand? It's very simple what he's explaining, I'm repeating beautifully, is that that is the first level of awareness where you don't even have awareness of your actions. And then the second one is, the second stage is, you are aware of your action. Means what? Now you know that, oh, should I do it or not? Okay, that is at least the mind is now applying the intellect. Now even before that is you are pre-programmed. Even you don't even know that a thought is coming. Thought is already coming and gone. This is all about the human awareness, how it is interfered and stolen by the instinct, by the thoughts, by the actions. All these are the things that are stealing you from the I am consciousness. And in that I am consciousness, the interference aspect of it is, papam, children, probably this is too much of high funda philosophy, but understand it very simple, not only children, even adults, sorry. I should not insult the children. One time, Swami was saying monkey mind, and Professor Anil Kumar said, Swami, please insult the monkeys, They are better than human beings. Look at Hanuman, how he served you. And we are not even eligible to be called monkey minds, because even monkeys are more aware of God than human being today. Today, especially today, in this context, in this society. So, well, let us chant. It takes time to explain these mantras, because if I simply say, read the meaning, what it means, next time when you chant the mantra, you wouldn't be able to connect to what am I chanting? Why am I chanting? How is it important for my own existence? And that is the most important thing today, that the Veda mantras have to be related to. Otherwise, people are chumma chanting, as I call it. Chumma chanting. Chumma chanting has no relevance, because that is what happens today, is that when people are not explained about what is the context of all these rituals that are happening, what is the context of all these gods existing here, these temples will come, but there is nobody to sustain these temples, because they think they have to do it only for the sake of doing it, but not doing it with this is a place of worship, and this place of worship is to connect to myself. And that is the point of when you go into a temple, when you see the God, what happens? Immediately you close your eyes. You go all the way to the temple. Why you close your eyes? Because the real God is inside you. You want to connect to that. What you saw outside, immediately say, oh, I'm experiencing it inside. And this inside and insight is the fundamental meaning of these Veda mantras. And when you go in front of the God and you chant these mantras, vanchate, parivanchate, stayunam pataye namo, give me the awareness to discriminate, viveka, vairagya. These are the two that are very important discriminators. Viveka means discrimination. Vairagya means detachment. Viveka, vairagya. That is the essence of human existence. If you live with those two, then what happened? You are living a life of sacrifice. Because you use your discrimination, you use your detachment. What are you doing? Sealing on desires automatically comes. You use the thing only to the extent that you want. And once you do that, imagine if every person lives with this awareness, then what happened? The whole world has plenty of natural resources for everybody to exist happily. And that is how samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. It means that may all the beings in all the worlds have happiness and peace when that individual awareness exists. Let's now chant these mantras. And I want to make a couple of announcements. So next Sunday, brother is here, the Veda class, because people that are dialing in also, Veda class will be at 8 a.m. and not at 9 a.m. because there is a service to the temple, and so that's the reason it is preponed to 8 a.m. And next Saturday also, Bhagavan will be going to Bay Area, and Sanatan Dharma Kendra. And in Bay Area from 8:30 to noon, there is a Veda chanting and reading his story with Nama Sankirtana for 4 hours. So anybody who is interested in carpooling, please contact Venkat, and Bhagavan will go there after Suprabhatam and come back for the evening prayer at Gayatri Satyan's place. So that's the program for next Saturday. I just want to, and one last thing, November 24th to December 5th, there will be Atirudra Parayanam. 121 devotees chanting 11 times a day, Rudram. It is an incredible opportunity for you to actually, I know people that came to Atirudram and just learned the entire Rudram. Entire Rudram, because imagine 121 times if you are listening, and not 120, 14,394 times if you are listening something. If you don't get it, I have to say I'm sorry, there's something wrong. So that would be the best way to learn Rudram, and there is I don't know how to send it, but maybe, I will forward the email to Chandar and Venkat. Whoever is interested in enrolling into that, you can participate in the chanting online. Today it is spiritual cyber sadhana, cyber spirituality. So online you can also dial in, and that's happening from November 24th to December 4th. Next Saturday is Bhagavan is visiting Bay Area. Om Sri Sai Ram. Sanatan Dharma Kendra in same place, Atirudram also, yeah. Namah Sahamanayane Vyadhina Avyadhini Nam Pataye Namo Namah Kakubhayani Shangine Stenanam Pataye Namo Namo Nishangina Yishudhimate Taskaranam Pataye Namo Namo Vanchate Parivanchate Stayunam Pataye Namo Namo Nicherave Paricharayaranyanam Pataye Namo Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Sri Sai Ram.